Hello, welcome to Beyond the Varley. My name's Katherine, and today we'll be looking at Jessica Thalmann's show, Two Truths and a Lie, currently on display at the Varley Art Gallery. Jessica Thalmann is a photographer whose artistic interest lies in exploring and pushing the limits of photography. What can a photograph do and not do? In this show, Thalmann uses photography to explore the artistic medium of architecture. In this show, Thalmann investigates two social concepts that I'm going to be explaining in this video. The first, the failed utopian aims of brutalist architecture, and the second, a theory called the poetics of space. Then, we'll look at Thalmann's piece Tessellations, which currently takes up the back wall of the gallery. The curatorial text to the show ends by saying that Jessica's work considers the way that ruins, monuments, and abandoned public squares embody the failed utopian aims of brutalist architecture. Brutalist architecture originated in the 1950s. It was a part of the modern architectural movement and born from the idea of modernism more generally. Brutalist buildings can be identified by their large, bulky shapes. Often, they were made using large amounts of concrete. Examples of brutalist architecture in Canada are Habitat 67 in Montreal, Robarts Library at the University of Toronto, the National Arts Centre in Ottawa, and Toronto City Hall. The utopian aims behind the movement was this turn away from architects focusing on ornamentation and decoration in buildings. Instead, they wanted to make cost-efficient buildings that could be used to serve many. Because of these political aims of equality and socialism associated with the movement, these buildings were usually used for public purposes. For example, government buildings, or art galleries, or public housing. It wasn't until the 1970s that people started talking about the failure of brutalism as a movement. These buildings haven't aged well, and now they're often associated with poverty and neglect. Thalmann's investigation of brutalist architecture is also informed by a theory called the poetics of space by French philosopher Gaston Bachelard. This theory is interested in how people's ideas, dreams, and thoughts change as they pass through and experience different spaces. Thalmann is not only interested in the aims of a photograph or a building, as well as their current state, but how each object changes and is affected by people who experience it. Now, with all that background information, let's look at Thalmann's piece, Tessellations, which currently takes up the back wall of the gallery. Each piece here started as a black and white photograph. The photos came from two brutalist parks, Seattle's Freeway Park and Portland Keller's Fountain Park. Both parks started with the aim of fostering community and equality through creating these large and open public spaces. Instead, they both became sites of crime and violence and have been left to ruin and decay. Thalmann creates this work through undertaking a series of folds and using Photoshop to add color from the original sites, which are manipulated using the software. This piece is a kinetic artwork, which means that the viewer must walk around and orient themselves in relation to it in order to experience its full effect. So if we start on the right side, the photos are in black and white. As we move around the work, the color starts seeping through. And as we arrive at the left side, the piece is almost entirely in color. Although the photographs become heavily abstracted, if we look closely, we can see the different textures on the surfaces of the asphalt. And we can even see plants and rainwater seeping through or disrupting these harsh surfaces. So in each work in this show, Thalmann manipulates images to the extent that as the viewers, we're forced to walk around, to question what we see and what we think we know, and to reflect. Thank you for watching. This program is made possible by the Varley Mackay Art Foundation, Canada Summer Jobs, and TD Bank.